When you silence the clutter and distractions, analyzing the why of the why of the why, do you find it easy, hard, or even necessary to ask yourself the harder questions? This is Ashley Salem. I continue my conversation with Eric Purcell as we talk about the real nature of being afraid of the emotions and the truths that might hide in the dark.
I find it really interesting if we as humans will slow down, I think most of the time, and listen to our heart, I think most of the time it'll tell us what we need to do. But the slowing down is the hard part.
Maybe even a layer on top of that is recognizing the things in our mind that aren't really ours. Mm-hmm. So whether it's projections from other people, you should be this way, you should do this, you can get this career, you should, there's tons of stuff that societally we kind of adapt without realizing, like, oh, do I actually like this?
I'm not sure how relevant it is, but I got a story for you.
Oh, okay.
Around that.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite stories. So
I am so ready. You don't even understand.
So it was right before we opened the shop, and I was in a bit of a dark place. So we're getting close to the end of the build out. It's kind of the punch list. There's things we got to get done. We know we're going to open soon. And I was walking from this bathroom to the front door with a paint roller in my hand, and there was a song playing that I had, an album that I'd listened to all winter. It was one that I really enjoyed, but the lyrics to the song I don't think I had really heard. I had sung them, but I don't think I'd heard them. And the line was, "But I build my life on someone who I thought that I was."
Yes, that.
And something hit me.
Yeah.
And I was over there by the pastry cabinet, so I was close to the front door, and I literally just fell on the ground.
Eric, that's real.
Crying.
Yes.
And I was I didn't know what happened. And I felt embarrassed because I'm like, I don't know who's going to walk by. So I crawled back to this bathroom here, and I don't know how long I was in there, but just weeping. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, what? It was this really weird experience where I didn't know why that line had hit me so hard. And all I could think was, my heart knows something that I don't know. That's all something, my heart resonated with that line in a deep, 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 deep way. And I do not understand it. And so that moment then became a catalyst for some deeper reflection. I'm like, okay, why is that line true of me? Because it must be, something about it must be. And that turned into some really good, I learned a lot of things about myself and some big, what's the word? It revealed a lot in the next probably 3 to 6 months that I was wrestling that question. And so what I find in that moment is, again, I could have ignored the invitation to ask that question. And it did take some slowing down in a sense to do that. And I think that's in some ways what grieves me in part in this season is that we've had as a culture, we've had a bit of one of those moments where it's like something's knocked us onto the floor and we have the opportunity to engage it.
The invitation is there.
It's there, but most of us don't want to take it. And I understand why, because it's scary. But I don't think we can really be okay unless we take it.
So for those who feel that invitation, acknowledge that it has been an invitation. Mm-hmm. But the fear of what they might find out once they dive into it is something that is so scary that they consistently decide to not go there. Mm-hmm. Yet, just anything that we use to distract ourselves are consistently not being able to sustain, maybe where it used to be like a day, maybe a couple hours, it's not even doing anything anymore. What would you say? What would be your advice for those that are too scared to even dive deep?
It's a very real question.
Yeah.
Because the fear is real too. Like, and not just like the fear is real, but the reason for the fear is real.
Yeah, because the implications of the fear, depending on what those answers could be, what would that change? And
Yeah. I don't think you can do it without people, without a community. I mean, I think there's those rare people who just have some inordinate amount of courage. For that specific question, I have really close friends who are skilled at sort of the coaching, they're skilled at walking people through those types of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Who I was like, hey, I need to talk with you. So it's not really advice. It's more of, I guess, an ingredient. And I think what probably a listener, they're going to think two things. They're going to think either I have some of those people, or they're going to say, I don't have any of those people. And my guess is that a lot of us don't have any of those people. Which is another part of the kind of, like, we might have people around us, and even people that we would say are close friends, but do we have people around us who are committed to doing that work and doing that work with us, or giving us the room to do that work? So I'll say, as I say this, even saying it, I feel a lot of sadness, because I really truly believe that it cannot be fully engaged without some really solid, supportive people around you. And maybe that means finding a therapist. Maybe that means finding a coach, someone like me who can, I'm not a therapist, but I do have a different skill set that helps people engage this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Finding friends who are going to be with you in it and give you the space, and just, so even that might be a place to, to ask yourself, do I have those friends? Do I have any of those people in my life? What would it take to get them in my life?
Right.
And then I think just an invitation to courage, because I think this year has shown us a lot of the ugliness in our culture, and there's been a lot of energy then put into changing that. And I think part of I've been feeling this stirring. I've been seeing some posts on social media where folks that have been really engaged in protest have just been saying, I'm just tired, or I need to see a therapist, or I don't know if I can do this anymore. And my heart's breaking. So I'm like, ugh. That's to be expected, given the trauma of those experiences.
Yeah.
And the trauma is real. The PTSD is real. The fight is real. And so there has to be room to process it. There has to be time and space to process it. And if long-standing change is going to happen, those individuals who then make up a community have to be able to continue engaging it from a healthy place.